Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Did Seth Rollins just start his WWE heel turn? NXT invades the main roster again. And we finally found Brock Lesnar's weakness. It's lightsabers. Lightsabers to his knees. I'm Ollie Davis and welcome to the 4th of November 2019 WWE Raw in about 4 minutes. The episode opened on Triple H arriving in a convoy of 3 cars, which apparently contained enough NXT wrestlers to consistently overwhelm the entire Raw roster for the rest of the night. It's because they're smaller and developmental, you can fit loads of them in each car. Wait a second, Keith Lee exists! Continuing the star power opening, Paul Heyman then cut a fully heel promo on the crowd. All the bitches in the back, you know it's big time when Paul says bitches, and Rey Mysterio, who caused Brock Lesnar to quit SmackDown so he could come beat him up on Raw. Even though Rey's been on practically every episode of SmackDown since the draft, brand split LOL. Lesnar then started beating up random backstage officials to find Mysterio, which is an HR nightmare, culminating in Heyman threatening Jerry Lawler that no one would resuscitate him if he died on the air again, which was a super harsh line, and Dio Madden getting F5'd through the announcer's desk after awesomely standing up to Brock. Apparently that was enough innocent casualties for Mysterio, who then took out Lesnar's legs with a lightsaber. And for a change, the little guy was booked to look strong going up against the Beast, rather than just have Lesnar F5 Rey over and over again, which is how WWE usually book. Brock sold Rey's beatdown like he was legitimately knocked out. It's a sign of how much Lesnar respects and likes working with Rey, and also how much more effective making Brock seem vulnerable can be. Mysterio then challenged Lesnar for a WWE title match at Survivor Series. After a recap of the World Cup to determine the most historic women's wrestling match in the World Cup history of the world, Natalya teamed with Charlotte because they're both blonde. Women's Evolution. They took on women's tag team champions Asuka and Kairi Sane because they're both Japanese, and Natalya unfortunately made Asuka tap in the sharpshooter. Charlotte and Natty have zero chemistry together, but as previously explained, they're blonde. Neither Buddy Murphy or Cedric Alexander have done anything of note since the draft, so they reverted to a 205 Live filler match. Only a few things in life are certain: death, taxes, and WWE misunderstanding Andrade and Zelina Vega's act. They were yet again booked in a mixed tag match, where Vega got the winning pin over new Lady Door Catalina, make up your mind what she's called, WWE, and Sin Cara. Rusev said Bobby Lashley is welcome to Lana, but his ass is all his. Giggity. Bobby couldn't fight though because he claimed to have torn his groin by banging Lana so hard. He injured his dick, folks, so Drew McIntyre came out for the match instead. Even though King Corbin is on SmackDown, the pull of the mid-card vortex still remains! Bobby caused the DQ, and then Randy Orton RKO'd Rusev from out of nowhere. Team Flair ain't just for Saudi Arabia, Team Flair for life. Babyfaces really do care though, and Ricochet made the save. In probably the best segment of the night, Charlie Caruso had a sit-down backstage interview with Becky Lynch for Shayna Baszler to come in and replace her. This gave us an awesome promo back and forth between Shayna and Lynch, bringing up Ronda Rousey and talking about which limb she's going to snap off. This was the most engaging promo WWE have done in months. Unfortunately, the crowd weren't really hot for much on this show, and the Street Profits promo on the OC fell flat despite their charisma. The match was the usual 6-man fun and ended in the usual AJ Styles beating Humberto Carrillo. Even though Styles had his feet on the ropes, it's AJ's 3rd win over Humberto in a week, which has completely undercut Carrillo's babyface momentum. The Viking, don't mention the war experience! Raiders squashed 2 dudes dressed for polo, and midway through the show, Seth Rollins had an existential promo after losing the Universal title to The Fiend, while in typical Seth fashion, not selling a single injury. Have a bandage over your eye, you were blinded by pyro! He did show some potentially genuine anger though, yelling at the crowd that he doesn't give a damn a lot of us are happy he lost, then pointed out that now Brock's back on Raw as the top champion, it feels like everything's back to square one again, and he doesn't know if he can do it anymore. Cue NXT daddy Triple H to make Seth a very interesting offer. Perhaps his future lies in the past. Rejoin NXT, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. It's a fascinating potential character arc for Rollins. The fans have turned their backs on him, he's lost the title, so in his broken, vulnerable state, he goes back to his heelish mentor that's worked in the past. An NXT title match was made for the main event with Rollins versus Adam Cole, baby, but it never really connected with the crowd, with Seth taking the majority of the offense and the undisputed Undisputed Era causing a DQ finish, ending the show in a big brawl complete with Keith Lee doing a massive dive over the top rope outside. That's WWE Raw in about 4 minutes. Vote in the poll above my head to give your rating, where you can choose from Rawsome, Core, Average, Poor, and Rawful. I'm really intrigued by the Rollins storyline. It's nice to see Brock Lesnar actually care about a feud again, and the NXT invasion is always going to be exciting. But NXT's involvement was nowhere near as good as on SmackDown, and everything else on the show dragged. This week's Raw is a low average. WWE stars want to quit over Saudi Arabia. Click the video on the right now to find out the whole controversial story, and watch our new WrestleTalk highlight video of all the best review moments from the week in WWE and AEW by clicking the video below that. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.